Hi there, my name is Haley LoBosco, and I am a coach with Inspired for Results with Kathleen Metcalf. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the Buddha and the Badass, the secret spiritual art of succeeding at work. Now, as I mentioned in my typed out review, this is probably one of my favorite leadership books. And the reason for it is because I really love how it combines the idea of spiritual inner work and using your personal growth as a conduit to shake things up and make a change in the world. So you're showing up not only for yourself, but for all of those who you work with or you inspire and you lead, which I think really the world needs more Buddhas and more badasses. And Vishin, the author of the book, he does a great job of defining what the two are. So the Buddha is somebody who is able to obtain inner peace, calmness, really use a lot of self-reflection in their life. And the badass is somebody who is an implementer, they're an entrepreneur, they're a change maker, right? And so what if we could integrate both of these skills and bring them out and show up inspiring people every day? So there are a few things that I wanted to point out in the book that he talked about. The first thing that Vishen starts out with is he asks you the question of, what is it that you truly want? And I love this question because most of us in work, how we show up is we think that we know what we want based on societal norms or our culture or what we've been taught, what our parents wanted for us. So he says that there are two versions of us. There's that person, that identity that we have, that we show up as because that's what we think that society wants us to be. And we also have another piece of us, another identity inside who is who we really are. But we're afraid to show up as that person because we're afraid that we might be judged or we might think that we're not enough. And what he says is that once you are truly aligned with what your inner desires are, that is when you can actually step into your greatness and live more purposefully and intentionally. He also says that 85% of people, he says this quote in the book, that 85% of people, they hate their job. 85% of people show up every single day to a job that they hate. That is that's pretty powerful. He says that time runs out, so we don't want to waste it showing up as something or someone that we really don't want to be. He also teaches in the book how to become withable, which is a word that he completely made up. But I love it because he talks about how when you become withable, you're not allowing negativity to impact you. You no longer care what other people think or what they say or what society wants you to be because you are fully aligned or truly aligned with what you want and how you want to show up to be the best version of yourself. When you become withable, he says, you can say to yourself, I am enough. You practice gratitude. You can be content with where you're at, and you can still strive for more. And I love that because you can be content. He says you can be content with where you're at, but you still strive for more, which leads to my fourth point in the book that I really enjoyed, was that he says that the goal to life is to grow. He says that if we aren't growing, we're dying. And a lot of us hang our happiness on our title, how much money we make, the shoes that we have, the car that we drive, the handbag that we might have if we're women, the clothes that we wear. How many people do you know who say, I will be happy if X happens? I'll be happy if I make six figures. I'll be happy if I graduate from this university. And then those things happen for those people, and they're still not happy. That is because they're not focused on the growth. They're not focused on their personal growth. They're not showing up for themselves. They're not showing up for other people. And they're truly not contributing into the world at a high level. He also points out that failure is completely okay. We need to change that mindset of that failure is negative, failure is bad. He says that 50% of all of your goals should be have a 50% failure rate, which really means that you should be trying all different things at all different times, which is completely out of the norm, completely out of the box thinking, right? But he says that failure is okay as long as you learn from it. Again, focus back on the growth. What have you learned from this mistake? Where did you grow? How have you changed? How has this impacted your life? As long as you are learning from the growth experience and you're moving fast to try something new, then failure is okay. We're just pivoting. All we're doing is pivoting. It's not a failure. And then finally, he says that if we want to change our focus, if we want to change our habits, we need to change our focus. So, what are you focusing on? And if you switched your focus and started really focusing on the process of what you're doing, could it could it impact the habits that you currently have? So he says focus on the process, which I think is really, really fascinating. I really love this book. I would highly recommend that you get it. I think it's a great leadership tool. There's a lot of tactical strategies in the book on what you could implement as a leader. He gives lots of examples of different things that he's tried in his company that have failed and that have worked really well. And it really just talks about once you are truly aligned with what you love doing and what your purpose is and what your intention is, that people who are supposed to be in your bus, people who are supposed to show up and be with you, will be inspired by you, that you're actually attracting your allies because the vibration that you're putting off is attracting like-minded leaders. And I love that philosophy. So I would highly suggest that if you're looking for a great leadership book, either to read by yourself, or I've actually read this with a team, a previous leader of mine and his assistants, we all read this together. And it was a great conversation for all of us to implement these tools and this philosophy into our business. So I hope that you enjoy it.